Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, thank you, Mr. Producer. We are back, and I am joined by the one and only Miss Julie Gasior. Julie, welcome back to the show. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you so much. Love being here.
And I hope I'm not imposing here, but I just heard some, kind of amazing news, which is awesome about what you're doing this weekend. Is it okay if I say that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's so awesome because so many people were in that situation. Maybe it kind of just lifted me up because we don't realize how serious this was. I mean, you haven't seen your parents in 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. I mean, we've done video calls, which have been really great.
Mm-hmm. But you haven't given them a hug in 2 years, right?
No hugs. I know. And I'm looking forward to the hug. My stepmother gives the greatest hug. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
I just thought that was such a great thing. And I thought that, I'd share it to everybody. It's such a great thing where, finally it seems like we're kind of getting back to, well, there's never a normal, but at least right. I'm so happy that you get to see your family in person this weekend. So I thought I'd share that with people, and it's a good thing to hear on Friday.
Yes, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. So
I bet.
Yeah.
And family is something that will bring us to hopefully will help us get to our higher self, if I could use that as a segue, because today you're going to tell us about the connection to your higher self. But before we get there, can you give us kind of, just in case people are new, give us kind of a recap about what you do and about Unlock Your Shine?
Absolutely. So what I do is I'm able to connect in with your higher self, get messages, clear limiting beliefs, and give next steps. And that's just like a quick synopsis.
Yeah.
I mean, really, what this work is about is learning to connect with your higher self, to then rely on your own messages and clear your own stuff. And it's a teachable thing, which is the amazing gift there. I chose the name Unlock Your Shine because that's how it felt to me. Like I went from the space of, it wasn't completely dark, but this cycle of self-doubt and disappointment were there. Yeah.
Lack of self-esteem, lack of self-confidence. Everybody, but you went through I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm just saying I can relate, and everyone can relate that's listening to you. So
yeah. So the idea of being able to unlock who you truly are, which is that shine, right? As we connect in with ourselves and allow ourselves to be who we truly are, we shine, and it's a beautiful thing. So that's why I named my company and my website Unlock Your Shine, because I thought it was a perfect melding of what it is that I can bring to the world.
Okay. Yeah, well said. And I always wanted to ask you, one thing that you do, and it's a very important part, is that you somehow work on getting rid of those limiting beliefs, which you told me about. Limiting beliefs. Those are those things that are in the back of our subconscious from 4 years old or whatever that tell us we're not good enough, tell us we're not fitting in, or whatever it may be. When you're clearing out those limiting beliefs, working with you, is there a time there's a kind of a rough patch that you are surrounded by those things before they go away, or are you able to just get them out? How does that work?
So what it is first you identify what that limiting belief is. Let's say it's, I'm not good enough. And we identify where that came from, although that does not have to be the case. You don't have to actually know, as long as you can connect in with it. And then, go from the space of believing that I'm not enough to bringing in what the truth would be. And so let's say it's a situation where, like we've talked about previously, where, the kid comes home from school excited, mom's cooking, she shoves him away, feels rejected, brings in this limiting belief, he's not important or she's not important. Mm-hmm. Identifying that and then seeing that what the mother was doing She was trying to protect her child. And just having that truth in there could be enough to let that go.
Okay.
So that you have that then realization that, oh, that I'm not enough, I'm not important, isn't true
It's not
because
true. You
my
said
mother loved me. Yeah, yeah. So you're able to then integrate that into your whole being and then live from that space. So
yeah.
living from the space of I'm important or I am enough is a whole different world to live from than the not important, not enough.
Gotcha. Hey, Julie, do we come into this world at our higher self before anything happens? Do we come in blank slate at our best?
I believe so, yes. I believe we come in pure souls, which is why children are able to sense things that adults don't.
Like what?
You know, like kids sometimes are more sensitive to energies. You know, like I'll never forget. I was a nanny for a while, and one of the girls I was watching, her grandmother came over and was chasing the girl around the house to try to give her a kiss. But she didn't know her, and the energy was off, and the kid's hiding under the table. You know, but you know, because she had the sense that she wanted to stay away for whatever reason, and it could be that pushing energy that the grandmother was coming in with.
Okay.
Kids sometimes see passed on people, or people have passed on, whereas adults might not. I'm not saying all kids do, but
Right,
they
right.
tend to be more sensitive to the energies going around that are happening around them. But you know, as you're in utero, as you're, you know, being fed by your mother, whether you know she might have her own limiting beliefs that she's stewing in as you're growing in the womb, and so some of that does get integrated as well,
Mhm.
setting you up to believe these non-truths.
Right.
But I do believe that souls come in purely lit and then get toned down based on whatever they're absorbing in their environment.
So how much do our choices affect this connection to our higher self?
Well, if your choice is coming from um, your highest good, then right, you're fine. But if you're making choices from self doubt, from insecurity, from fear, you're just continuing to live in the cycle of how you've been living,
Right.
because it's that same non-truth that you're keeping going instead of, you know, almost opening up the doorway to allow the connection to come in so you can actually hear the messages from your higher self.
Is that maybe where addiction comes in and bad relationships and stuff like that, that we're listening to those things to
Yeah,
cope somehow?
yeah, absolutely. Like think about how many people get married because that's the person in front of them and not from a place of like true connection and love. You know, they're looking for something, so they're looking outside of themselves for that affirmation or
Uh,
validation, and that person can't actually fulfill that because that's a big thing to fulfill.
right.
You know, if
Yeah.
you're not filling yourself up with self-love, someone can't shove that in for you. You
Right.
got to do it yourself. And so that's why divorce is so prevalent, because people start realizing this other person isn't going to do it,
Yeah. They're
do
not
what
they're
I
not
need
going to
them to do.
fix everything I need fixed with me, so I'm going to look to someone else to fix it for me. I remember one time somebody said something. I thought it was a great quote. It said, "There's nothing more narcotic than falling in love." Right? Yeah. Well, um, so I guess once you connect to that to your higher self, then you start making the decisions that will bring you to this life that you found, because this is not what you found your whole life. This is, once you got educated and you started researching this, things changed like 360 for you,
Dramatically.
right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I was so stuck in this cycle. And now I feel like I'm in the flow of life, like, yeah, stuff comes up, but I have the tools now to clear that out and to reconnect in with my higher self. And so let's talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit. Like,
please,
how
please.
do you do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So first, think about, like, you do have a soul. We all have a soul. If it's hard for you to connect with that, you know, there's God. People believe in God. So God is out there creating life, and you might want to be connecting with God. It's however you view your world to get that higher connection, because that's what you're looking for, something less than earthly, right? But you have all this stuff going on, right? You have doubt, you have fear, you have all this. So how do you get into that? And stillness is the start of it, right? You want to get to a place where you can still your mind, quiet everything down, and then hear that little voice, right? It's about trying to get that little voice to get the volume up so that your mind chatter, the volume goes down. So, how do you get into stillness is the personal choice, right? Some people meditate to get to that still place.
That was with you. That was big with you, right?
Um, I No, I had the mind chatter, and so meditation was very hard for me.
Oh wow. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that's what kind of that went along with your change. Oh, please go on. Tell me about it. It's interesting.
No, I can do guided meditations where someone is actually speaking, and that will get me to stillness, which is good. Actually, for me, the thing that helped get some of the mind chatter out is I do stream of conscious writing. And all that means is just writing everything in your head for as long as you possibly can. And then what happens is some of that chatter starts quieting down, and then I'm able to tune into the messages.
Mm.
Getting into nature, big one. If you just so sometimes what I'll do is I'll go to the park and I'll bring my paper and I'll just start writing, and I'll just be in, like, the sun. You get a little breeze going on. The trees are there. Like, there's beautiful nature right there to support the stillness, because nature just naturally brings that to us. It allows us to bring self love in. It allows us to bring self belief because it's just being its beautiful self. So it actually elevates us as we are in it. Um, so, yeah, absolutely get into nature if you can to help you with that stillness. If meditation works for you, go for it. Um, but like I said, I personally do the stream of conscience writing to help just get some of that gunk out of
Get
there.
all that. So that sounds real interesting. I mean, so you'll go out, you'll be outside, and you'll find a nice spot, and you'll just take your notebook, and it doesn't have to make sense. You just say, I mean, you could be writing out, I need eggs. I had a bad dream last night. I don't know. I have an itch. It doesn't matter. You could come up with whatever it is, but you're saying after you finish writing and I guess your hand gets tired or whatever, that gets some of the dissonance out. That gets some of the chatter, as you said.
Yeah, and it's about not correcting. It's just about writing whatever's there, and then what I do is I rip it up, and just imagine that I'm letting it go.
Okay.
So that's my personal way of doing it. Everyone has their own way of getting the stillness, but what you're trying to do is just quiet down your mind and get yourself out of your head, down into your heart area or your center, so that you can not be listening to all that negativity, and
Right.
and find the space of, like, if you're listening in your heart area, you can feel the difference in what comes out. If you just right now just take a breath and imagine your mind being in your heart, it feels different, right? It quiets it down. Right now it's like I'm feeling like, a babbling brook, like, oh, so nice, quiet,
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely get into nature and start practicing how to love yourself, whatever that means to you. Like, and I'm not talking like cramming affirmations. What I'm just saying is learn to start appreciating you as an individual. Like we each have our own gifts that we bring into this world. And when we stop comparing ourselves to everyone else and start actually seeing ourselves for um, the gifts that we are, the gifts that we bring to the world, we can start then appreciating that about ourselves. And gratitude will start growing and you'll start feeling better. And some of that other gunk will, get past, get out of there because you're starting to practice a new practice. Because all that other stuff that's going on in our head, all those judgments and all that stuff is comparison to other people, old stuff that we've taken on, and it's all not true. The truth is the gratitude and the love and all that beautiful energy that we can bring into our own experience and grow from there. And then the flow starts happening in a really beautiful way.
So when you're first starting out, and maybe you may not believe that you're uh, very handsome or you're very pretty or attractive. Just an example. Does it help to speak these things out? Like, hey, you're a very pretty girl. You're a very handsome person. You're very attractive. Even if in the beginning you really don't believe it because of these limiting beliefs, is it good to say these things or to think them over and over? Tell me how that works when you have a bad, you have these limiting beliefs that are very strong.
So then don't start there, right? If you look in the mirror and say, "Oh my God, you're ugly,"
Right.
don't start there, right? Start with something like maybe you're a really good cook, or maybe you um, like talking to people and training them in some way, or maybe you um, are an artist in some way. Like start with something that you already can connect with in that way, so that
So
you're
it's got to
not
be
pushing
real.
against. Yeah, because you want to be able to feel it. You want to be able to bring that in and just allow that to grow.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you could look in like Louise Hay, who I love. Louise Hay. She
Who's
has
that?
this whole. She is like the grandmother of affirmation.
Okay.
Um, and she has this book called Mirror Work. And so you look at yourself in the mirror, look into your eyes, and you say, "I love you, Julie. I really, really love you." And then let all that stuff come up, but just continue to do it. And that actually did help me look in the mirror to do that as a practice. It took me a while to really believe the words.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, and I think it's the looking in the eyes was the key part in that one. Like that saying it in my head doesn't resonate the same as when I actually was in the mirror, looking in my eyes and saying, "I love you, Julie."
Right.
Um, so you certainly could do that as a practice
Uh-huh.
um, to try it. Why not? You know, if
Okay.
it works for you, go for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If it doesn't, then find something else, right?
Right. Okay. All right. Or people could just start and do a I guess you do it with consultation first. You talk to people first. How do people start the ball rolling here if they want to get on a different path and get rid of those limited beliefs and work with you? How do they get a hold of you?
So you can go to my website, unlockyourshine.com. There is a book a session button on there, which will bring you to the free 15-minute session if you want to book a session that way. You can email me asking about it, Julie at unlockyourshine.com, or my phone number is 609-902-8335. And you can call or text that as well. So there's several different ways to reach out.
Okay, cool. So tell us more about this connection to your higher self.
Okay, so for me, it did take me a little bit to get to the point where I feel that connection. And now it's just a natural way of being. I notice the difference when I'm coming from my higher self space or if I'm coming from this negative space. Because after a while, after sitting in the self love and sitting in the space of higher self, that other stuff starts feeling yuckier. We tolerate it because we've had to for our whole lives. But when you start actually feeling how wonderful life can be, that starts really feeling worse. So it's about elevating how you view yourself and elevating how you start seeing the world. So personally, I treat my higher self like a best friend. She's there for me no matter what. Even if I have, yucky thoughts, I could still go and talk it out or write it out, however it shows up for me. And just imagine like someone who really, really loves you, like really unconditionally loves you, is there to just listen and give you a hug, a virtual hug. But that energy of like being hugged from within feels amazing. So, and that is your higher self energy, is really that best friend energy, someone that's there to guide you because they have a higher perspective than you do. But they are you in the end, because what we are souls in a body form. It's just that we've lost touch with it because of all the stuff that we've got going on.
Gotcha. And now, what you were talking, you were starting to tell us about how the spiritual, I guess I call it spiritual, but the belief in something higher, whether it be God, uh, whatever it may be, that's very important in your journey, isn't it?
Well, that is the higher self. So it just depends on how you define it for yourself.
I
Some
see.
people say the universe, some people say God, some people say higher self. Um, it's all a higher energy. It's just what is the easiest way for you to connect to it? And if it's God, then go that route.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
I
If
see.
it's universal intelligence, go that route. Your
Different for
higher self,
everybody.
yeah.
Got it. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about the connection to our higher self? Because I see there's a bunch of people that want to talk to you, and we don't. I think I can't see, but Mr. Producer, do I have time to even do that? I can do one. Okay, let's do. You want to do one quick?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Producer, what do you, we got time for one? Sorry, I didn't get to you guys, but we will
We'll do it
eventually.
next time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we have Phil in Atlanta, and Phil wants to know: can limiting beliefs stop us from breaking bad habits?
Thanks, Phil. Let me see if I understand the question. Limiting beliefs stop us from breaking bad habits?
Maybe it's being too tight in that circle, like it's too hard to break or something. I don't know, Phil. I'm not getting that one. Not really understanding either, but I appreciate you writing
Maybe
in.
what, yeah, maybe what he's saying is it keeping the patterns stuck?
Oh, there you go.
Maybe
Okay,
that's what
now
he's
now it
saying.
makes sense. Okay,
Um, so yeah, like what is a habit? It's something that we do over and over again. And we usually start doing those habits over and over again because it makes us feel comfort or something in the moment, safe. And we just keeping safe instead of really understanding that what we're doing is just keeping ourselves small.
Yeah.
And, so these limiting beliefs that's what holds us into this tight kind of constricting smallness instead of really like stepping into this greatness of who we are. Like if we are our souls, how amazing is that? That is just an amazing space to be in. And it's about learning to step into that by clearing that stuff out. So
Great.
I hope that helps, Bill.
Yeah, great answer. Thank you, Phil. Julie, let me give you the last word here. Always a pleasure. Always so positive and inspirational. And let me give you the last word. And by the way, I'm so excited for your weekend coming up. And thank you for sharing that. And let me give you the last word, my friend.
Thank you so much, Casey. I really enjoy being here.
Same here.
All right, get out in nature, people. Fill your mind. Let's do this. You can reach me at unlockyourshine.com, which is all words, or email Julie at unlockyourshine.com, or call me at 609-902-8335. You can phone or text me. Either way works. It's fine.
Julie Gasior, everybody. Have a great weekend, and thank you again. And guys, we'll be right back. Stay right there.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.